3.6.
Horse, oar, ball, court, court, draw, fort, score, sport, warm up.
Bird, hurt, serve, shirt, world, worse, work out.
3.7. 1,
I got hurt when I caught the ball.
2,
Her serve's worse than the other girls.
3,
It was a draw. The score was 4-all.
4,
It's the worst sport in the world.
5,
We warmed up on the court.
6,
They wore red shirts and white shorts.
3.8. Part 1.
What made you want to become a referee?
Mi padre fue árbitro, pero eso no me influenció. En realidad
My
fue todo
father
lo
was a
contrario.
referee, but that didn't influence me. In fact, the opposite, because I saw all the problems that he had as a referee. But as a child, I was always attracted by the idea of being a referee, and at school I used to referee all kinds of sports: basketball, handball, volleyball, and of course football. I was invited to join the Referees Federation when I was only 14 years old.
Were you good at sport yourself?
Yes, I was a very good handball player. People often think that referees become referees because they're frustrated sportsmen, but this is just not true in most cases, in my experience.
What was the most exciting match you ever refereed?
It's difficult to choose one match as the most exciting. I remember some of the Real Madrid-Barcelona matches, for example, the first one I ever refereed. The atmosphere was incredible in the stadium. But really, it's impossible to pick just one. There have been so many.
What was the worst experience you ever had as a referee?
The worst? Well, that was something that happened very early in my career. I was only 16, and I was refereeing a match in a town in Spain, and the home team lost. After the match, I was attacked and injured by the players of the home team and by the spectators. After all these years, I can still remember a mother who had a little baby in her arms who was trying to hit me. She was so angry with me that she nearly dropped her baby. That was my worst moment, and it nearly made me stop being a referee.
Do you think that there's more cheating in football than in the past?
Yes, I think so.
Why?
I think it's because there is so much money in football today that it's become much more important to win. Also, football is much faster than it used to be, so it's much more difficult for referees to detect cheating.
How do footballers cheat?
Oh, there are many ways, but for me the worst thing in football today is what we call simulation. Simulation is when a player pretends to have been fouled, when in fact he hasn't. For example, sometimes a player falls over in the penalty area when in fact nobody has touched him, and this can result in the referee giving a penalty when it wasn't a penalty. In my opinion, when a player does this, he's cheating not only the referee, not only the players of the other team, but also the spectators, because spectators pay money to see a fair contest.
3.9. Part 2.
What's the most difficult thing about being a referee?
The most difficult thing is to make the right decisions during a match. It's difficult because you have to make decisions when everything's happening so quickly. Football today is very fast. You must remember that everything is happening at 100 kilometers an hour. Also, important decisions often depend on the referee's interpretation of the rules. Things aren't black and white. And of course, making decisions would be much easier if players didn't cheat.
Do you think that the idea of fair play doesn't exist anymore?
Not at all. I think fair play does exist. The players who cheat are the exceptions.
Finally, who do you think is the best player in the world at the moment?
I think most people agree that the best footballer today is Leo Messi.
Why do you think he's so good?
It's hard to say what makes him so special, but a study was done on him which showed that Messi can run faster with the ball than many footballers can do without the ball. Apart from his great ability, what I also like about him is that he isn't the typical superstar footballer. You can see that he enjoys playing football, and he behaves in public and in his personal life in a very normal way. That's unusual when you think how famous he is. And what's more, he doesn't cheat. He doesn't need to.
3.10.
She was born in Berlin.
They got married last year.
On the way to Rome, we stopped in Florence for the night.
The plane didn't arrive on time.
What time did you get up this morning?
3.11. 1.
What were you doing at 6 o'clock last night?
2.
I was driving along the motorway when it started snowing.
3.
While I was doing the housework, the children were playing in the garden.
4.
It was a cold night and it was raining. I was watching TV in the sitting room.
3.12.
When they turned on the TV, the match had already finished.
As soon as I shut the door, I realised that I'd left my keys on the table. We couldn't get a table in the restaurant because we hadn't booked.
3.13.
It was a cold night and it was raining. I was watching TV in the sitting room. Suddenly, I heard a knock at the door. I got up and opened the door, but there was nobody there. The person who had knocked on the door had disappeared.